Hey everyone, it's Kyle, Zora Hype, and we're doing the last watch, the last after show. So it's just me by myself here this evening. Everybody is quite tired out. We had a couple of different streams earlier today, so it'll be me today, just Zora Hype with all of you lovely people. And yeah, I see Kim of Rit says we have a new favorite. I have a new favorite character. How much do you love Andy McClay? That was, I don't know how if everyone's watched the last watch documentary, but I loved it. So definitely some teary-eyed moments. You could see how much Game of Thrones meant to all of the people. I mean, look at how hard people worked on this show, everyone. So I've been thinking about it a lot this week. The appreciation, like the behind the scenes stuff that we often don't get to see, like the sets and stuff like that. Like they built the whole city, basically King's Landing. So, and they did so many other things, having to do 55 nights of night shooting, all of that. So pretty crazy. But yeah, I definitely have a favorite moment for sure, and it was Andy McClay. I loved the chronicling of the extra. Right, that was pretty cool. So how's everybody doing tonight? How is everybody doing tonight? I see the original David Adams in the chat right now. Courtney Matza, Kim Abridged, I see. Art Girl. I see Amy Collins Russell also in the chat. And yeah, Quinn himself. What's going on? Christian Oles is going on. Yeah, it's going to be that documentary definitely made me emotional. It was like just seeing how it affected everyone, right? And how much Game of Thrones changed so many people's lives. That was really, really interesting, right? So, what else we got in chat? We got Wendy Batiste, Phil Potter. We got Phil H in the chat as well. We're just gonna kind of like reminisce tonight. So we're gonna we're just gonna talk about the Last Watch documentary tonight, and we'll talk about some season 8 too. Is everybody cool with that? Let me know in chat if you're cool with that. We'll try to continue that and just hang out. Yeah, I thought we would hang out. I mean, I'm pretty tired, but I thought we'd hang out and do another after show. So since there was something Game of Thrones on tonight. So we got Fearless Mermaid in the chat, Paige Roberts, Steel Rain. Let's do it. Okay. So what should we talk about first? Shall we talk about like the set construction? Like all that, like that's pretty insane, right? We can talk about Andy McClay right off the bat. I feel like we could talk about him. He was the gal like being away from their families, all these different factors, right? The table read. Let's get a vote going in chat about the first thing that we want to talk about tonight. That's the best way to do it, right? So we got table read, which was, I mean, we saw Kit Harington's reaction. We could talk about that. We and also Amelia's. We can talk about Andy McClay. We could talk about this set building and them building all these awesome sets. Strong build. Yes. Table read. Oh, damn, man. Yeah, the table read was awesome, right? Got Peter Dinklage in there. That was super sweet. The table read was awesome. To get, like, for us to be able to see into that, like, we don't often get to see moments like that, right? Seeing into actually what's going on behind the scenes, the reactions of what they're reading and what they're perceiving or what they're going to be acting out. That's really interesting, right? Cynical snow guy for the win. I love how, like, when Kit found out that he's killing Danny, he like started getting emotional and crying. But then you see Amelia kind of like just like in her chair start slouching and sliding down. Oh man, it's really crazy, the phenomenon of Game of Thrones, right? So people in chat are saying Peter Dinklage is going to get the Emmy. It's possible for sure. He's and then Tormund and Davos. So Christopher Hivju and Liam Cunningham going back and forth. Fearless Mermaid says Conleth Hill's face was one of the high points during the table read. Amy Collins Russell said, when Kit pushed back from the table, my heart broke. Yeah, after he found that out. Everybody cheering on Arya, though. That was sweet. With the Night King. Yeah, also Ian Glenn. It was Steel Rain says, it was cool hearing the script read, like when Jorah's death scene was spelled out, and then Amelia was like all emotional, because people were like facing each other and in different spots. They weren't necessarily sitting beside each other. I think they like strategically sat them in like areas where they could have like reactions across from each other, because they knew they were doing this documentary, right? Oh yeah, that was cool too. So like the sacrifice that so many people had to make, like going up to Iceland, being away from their family, right? That was just insane. Club Sandwich Knowledge Bomb, says Bernie. You know what club stands for? Chicken and lettuce under bacon, Andy McClay says. Yeah, Andy McClay was my favorite part of the documentary. The people that work on the show, there's so many extras, right? And they have to work hard too. Like, it's not just about the main cast, right? And then we have the people that are directing and doing all of that. My new fave little, and he's like all about House Stark. Did you see the one funny part with Andy McClay that I really loved was, he's like, you're wearing that fucking Bolton jacket? You goddamn knew what you were doing when you were wearing that Bolton jacket. And to see, like, he was an extra in so many different parts. Oh my goodness, for him to survive and be like part of the battle in King's Landing, fighting for Stannis, fighting for Jon, like he was like literally part of like almost all the main battles after what, like season 5, 6. What did everybody think? Like, let's get thoughts on this. What did everybody think about the last watch, by the way? Did everybody enjoy it? Because, like, look, we have a major loss. Like, we lost Game of Thrones last week. So everybody is showing mad love to Andy McClay. Bittersweet. It was dope, says Aegon Targaryen. It was okay. The opening was cool. Emotional, says Gothic Redhead. I really enjoyed it, said Kate Bertinsky. It's so cool to see how they do everything. It was great. Amy Collins Russell said, it wasn't what I expected, but I enjoyed it so much. Yeah, John Ruiz. Let's say this. Major thanks and appreciation to all the creatives making this journey an unforgettable journey. The makeup people, the people who are helping build the sets, the people who are organized, the people who made the snow. Like, look at how much of a task that was, right? Andy. I love the relationship between Kit and Andy when they're going like the wrap jackets, when they're talking about the wrap jackets, and he's like, I won't accept Kit's money. He's like, I won't accept it. I'll just give Kit the jacket. Yeah, man. Snow Dude is everyday me whinging. He's like, he knows he has a Herculean task, and like things getting moved, like doing like a full day's work and then having him move to like another day and stuff like that. Quinn himself, who's a friend of mine in my hometown. What's going on, Quinn? He says costume design was amazing. Blacksmith design, like the swords and all of that. Yeah, like like the little details, like we're like, oh my God, this didn't happen, but there's so much detail that went into everything, right? The costumes, the extra, every single friggin' extra, like it's insane, right? Kate Bertinsky, I need me one of those rat jackets. I mean, don't we all? That would be sweet. Yeah, the head snow guy story was really cool. Kathy Palumbo says he talked about how he like grew up as an orphan, and like he was on his own basically after the age of 16. I think it was 16. like had like $300 in his pocket. So I love those like stories of real people, right? People that are trying to just survive in life, just like anyone else. Huge staff, Phil H. Yeah, like how does that stay organized, right? Like who staffs that? Like how do just so crazy to keep that like just such a everything in sync, right? Like on the same page, everything scheduled properly, no mix-ups. Man, that took like a Herculean effort, right? And this is just season 8. Like we heard people talk about during the documentary, like, hey, like this was definitely the hardest season, right? Because the sets were bigger and all sorts of, and they had to do like all of these huge things that they've never really done, like these 55 nights of night shoots, right? People are shouting out the prequels in the chat. Yeah, Phil H says the site managers were on point. Definitely. We saw also, I thought what was really cool because, you know, most of you know that I started the channel, I had a back injury. So David Nutter says Game of Thrones saved his life. He had to go through back surgeries, and that's why he wasn't part of the show for a while. So really nice to see. I mean, it definitely looked like he was struggling getting around, but David Nutter, who directed the Red Wedding and also Cersei's Walk of Shame episode, and he's just been a big part of the show. Really, just a great director. It looks like he went through a lot just to get back to Thrones, right? Oh, Carl, there's going to be book content, Fire and Blood. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to cover Song of Ice and Fire book content as well, not just Fire and Blood. I'm going to do chapter stuff. Oh my goodness, I'm going to do like will this happen in the books type stuff from the show too. I'm still going to be doing show stuff too, like King Bran talk, Jon Snow's like journey, like hero's journey, like looking at the character's arc as a whole and evaluating it, and like you know, kind of trying to pinpoint key points and discussing moments that were foreshadowed, like in earlier seasons. Now that we have the whole series completed, right? So I can take a look at, you know, the arc of Jorah, for example, or Theon Greyjoy, and kind of like look at his progressions, regressions, and all of that. So I think that I know a lot of you enjoy the archetypal structure of the hero's journey. You've heard me talk about that before on the channel. So I think that, yeah, I'm going to do a lot of that. We have Geek Chat 1, JR in the chat. What's going on, friend? We have a donation. It says, Imenja, $10 US. Thanks for all your great content. Imenja, if you have a question or another comment, let me know. Imenja, what did you enjoy the most about documentary tonight? We've got Mary Jade Skywalker in chat. Chrissy. We got Courtney Monson, like I said earlier. And yes, Cherry Blossom, we're going to be positive. That's how I roll. Take it or leave it. Rick Hoppy, Kali Zahara says, I love how he interacted with the fans. Yeah, there were some really cool moments. I really love the kids like, oh my God, this is the last day. You could see how much it meant to everyone. Kit was crying at the end. It's just absolutely, man, just how impactful Game of Thrones was from everyone, to the extras, to the people who are making the makeup. Viddle Diddy says, shout out to the makeup crew. The Night's King makeup crew. Yeah, I really love Vladimir Furdik, the actor who played the Night King. He's like, do you know who I am? And he's like, raise my army. That was really cool. What did everybody think about Vladimir Furdik? He's really funny, huh? He has a great personality, full of energy. Really love that. Keith Bertinsky says, I love Vladimir just sitting around with Isaac casually like they weren't millennial old enemies. Love that. Kelly Sahara says, Vlad was my favorite part. He's a crazy. Yeah, he's like, when they first contacted me, they told me how to be king. I said, I can be king of anything. Oh, man. The stunt work, yeah, they showed all of the work that went into Maisie and versus the Night King, which is crazy, right? So he's a super stunt man, yeah. Best stunt man. People are saying, yeah, calling him super stunt man in the chat. Yeah, and he had a really cool journey too. One thing, he was also Arthur Dane's stunt double at the Tower of Joy, so he was the one doing the epic dual wielding. We got to remember that too, right? Loved how they brought Vlad and the other cast. So let's talk about that, because when we were speculating for Game of Thrones season 8, we were like, oh, like they shot that Jon Snow Cersei scene. They brought Tom Malishka, who played Jack and Hagar. They brought back was it Faye Marsay, who played the waif. So they brought a bunch of actors and actresses to King's Landing to do like this, like throwing everyone off. Like they didn't want everyone to know kind of what the final scenes were. Maisie was on wires. That was crazy, right? The stunt stuff that she was doing. So yeah, if you have questions or comments, we're just going to read them all out. We're just going to hang out here. And I know there's been like 17 streams today. But yeah, I thought it would be cool to kind of do one final after show. We got Leslie Chevalier in chat also. Don't worry, we'll talk about the Hound after. Love the documentary overall, said Velveteen. Glassery says, love they brought Vlad and the other cast to the Dragon Pit. White Walkers and evil rain bonnets. Yeah, this is that was cool too. Like just seeing the Night King walk, and just seeing it from the perspective of a director too, right? Who's directing the episode. Seeing all like the little conversations like David Nutter was having with Sansa about, you know, what the context was, that how Sophie had to feel in that moment. Like, hey, okay, now Theon's a Stark, right? Like obviously when we watch it, we get that feeling because she's putting the Stark pin in Theon's armor, but hearing behind the scenes the direction between the director, person who's shooting the episode, and the actors and actresses was really neat. No, they just filmed. They said they filmed multiple endings, but it was just to throw people off, like the leaks and stuff like that. Oh man. Redwood says, when they said Arya jumped off a pile of White Walkers to kill the Night King. Yeah, Maisie did some crazy stunt work too. So Chad, let's everybody give their favorite moment. So people said the table read. What was it like? Vlad was it? It's got to be Andy, right? The extra, like his story was the coolest. The ending Waka was powerful and prolific. Vlad. Andy says Tim. So Kelly says Vlad. Tim says Andy. The food truck people? Yeah, they were rad too. Kit crying. Yeah, seeing him, he was emotional a lot. Rightfully so. I mean, it's a big part of his life, right? And he was like, yeah, he was just like a hardcore Game of Thrones fan that got to be in the show. Like, that's so cool, right? And then him on the tour after during the credits, like, that was really sweet. Kit's farewell to the show and the table read. Sophie was still crying after they cut. You can see how emotional that was. Rick Hoppy says the moment when the mother was getting she was part of the makeup artist crew and the crew being away from her daughter, and then her daughter got to be part of the actual last scene of a Game of Thrones, right? She got to be part of that Children of the Forest vibe with the wildlings walking through, and she got to be a wildling princess, I think we could say. Oh man, Andy was so awesome. I really hope Andy finds fame from this, because like I bet you he blows up after this. I really hope, I really wish good things to happen to Andy. He was his spirit, his spirit, when Andy got emotional too. He's like talking about how it was the best 5 years of his life, and he's like, I know I'm just an extra, but this meant so much to me. That was really touching. I think that was that was maybe even more emotional than the Kit stuff for me. When he said, he's like, yeah, I'm just an extra, and I know I'm not like a star or anything, but from his perspective, I mean, look at how much that meant to him, right? I bet they blew him up on purpose because he's on the prequel. I would love to see him on that. That would be amazing. So Kimmer Britt said Andy crying hit harder than Kit crying. He took on the Stark soldier persona. Yeah, he really did, right? Andy was great. Man, so let's talk a little bit about the Bells episode. They literally, well, how long did it take? Was it 4 weeks or 6 weeks for them to basically build a town? And she knocked on it. She was like, this is like, it was like plasticky and like hollow. That was crazy, right? Like that set that they built. Mm. Andy McClay is trending on Twitter. Oh my God. Is it? We need to make him trending if it isn't. I don't see it. I don't know. I don't know if my Canada Twitter is different. 7 months? Holy crap. So I was off by a couple months there. It took 7 months to build that set. Let's look up Andy Game of Thrones. Let's search on Twitter and see what comes up. The real star. Oh my God, I'm looking at all of these tweets. My new favorite character, Andy McClay, the real MVP of Game of Thrones, Andy McClay. Andy McClay, the extra, giving Kit a rap jacket. Oh my God, these tweets are hilarious. If you go on Twitter right now and check this out, oh, getting Andy on the channel? What? I'll have to talk to Andy. You know what? I'll send a message to Andy and see if he would come on the channel. I would love to interview him. Oh my God, that would be crazy cool. He seems like he would just be a cool guy to have a conversation with, right? We have to reach out to Andy, right? Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to Andy and tell him how. I mean, he's gonna have so many people reaching out to him, right? It'll probably be get him on the channel and go to the con. Oh man, I hope they get him. You know, that'd be so cool if they got him to go to Con of Thrones. He is gonna be so popular. Oh man. Oh, we need to contact. Yeah, we need to contact Andy. I'm gonna try to find him on Instagram or something and see if we can interview him. I don't know how that would work, if there's like still clauses with the show and stuff like that. I know they do contracts and stuff like that. But I promise you, I will at least reach out and try to make it happen. His phone is definitely, I mean, like his story was so sweet. Oh my God. Like it really touched my heart, honestly. He would be a fun guy to hang out with at Con of Thrones. Hell yeah. I think he would. I think him and Tormund drinking Giant's Milk, like their beards together, him and Tormund drinking Giant's Milk. JR, go enjoy the documentary, my friend. Oh, man. See you, JR. Thanks for joining. So what else was really cool during the last watch? There's really a ton of cool moments. They didn't really feature that much of Lena or Nikolai, which was interesting. We certainly didn't get enough Rory McCann, the Hound. What else is really cool? Oh man, the sets of Winterfell for the long night. Them talking about how grueling the schedule was really interesting. Amelia does seem very sweet. Yeah, Danny's wig. Let's talk about that, because that story was really sweet too. Because you could see the friendship that developed between Amelia and I can't remember the name of the lovely lady who helped Amelia with all of that. But we'll talk about the Snow guy too. We'll talk about him. But that was really touching. And then them having a conversation about it being over, like how to feel about it. That's kind of what we've been going through as people who love Game of Thrones, right? We're like, how do we feel about Game of Thrones being over? Truly. It's something to ponder, like something that we are having to deal with that's been really important to us. But imagine how they feel, like it's been such a gargantuan part of their life, right? Ollie Stock, hey, I'm watching from Bristol, England. That's where Arya Maisie Williams is from. Well, thank you, Ollie. Thanks for joining the chat. Really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, and everybody else who's hanging out tonight. What's left of me after this? Yeah, there was so many, like, just really strong statements about how the ending of Game of Thrones was affecting people, right? Oh, I know. Game of Thrones is life. Carrie says she's sad in the chat. Her wig, too. Amelia talking about how beautiful the hair was. Like, that wig was just on point. How much did that wig cost, by the way? It was like, I know it's like $5,000 to $10,000 or something, right? Like, that wig was super expensive. I can't remember the exact amount of money that they spent on that wig, but it was a lot. Amy Collins Russell, Game of Thrones has been such a huge part of their lives, and we really got to see it. Yeah, I'm going to have to go watch this one again. I love documentaries like this. One of my favorite shows that I love to watch, and I highly recommend if any of you have Netflix, it's called Chef's Table. So basically what it does is it chronicles kind of the careers of these chefs that have ended up making it really big, but, you know, it shows their small beginnings and their failures and kind of their travels in life and all that sort of stuff. That's what this reminded me of. We kind of got to see the journeys of all, you know, especially Kit and Amelia and Vlad. That was really cool. $7,000 to $8,000, you said, Leslie? Yeah, I thought it was around that much. that wig needs its own Twitter. Yeah, mo money, mo ponytails. And that's the one thing too. I can't remember who mentioned that. Yeah, with each victory, Dany's braids got more and more complex in her hair as well. Paige Roberts says, I love seeing the first table read. They all look like big babies. Damn, what shows do I suggest? I mean, I've had people suggesting shows to me because I'm so behind on everything. I would say The Expanse is the number one I recommend to everyone, but not everyone likes sci-fi, so that's a really hard one. I really enjoyed Last Kingdom, which is also on Netflix, which is it's set in a medieval style like Game of Thrones, but obviously it's not there's no White Walkers or dragons or anything like that. Expanse, I think, though, would probably be my number one pick. I I really got to get more into Westworld, but I'm toying with that idea because Robert India Geek I know is going to be covering it, and I would love to team up with him to talk about Westworld because I know Westworld has that similar type of theory crafting that you can do where it has like all these different layers where you're trying to like pinpoint exactly what's happening, and there's like foreshadowings and little clues that are littered everywhere, like little Easter eggs. I do like that about Westworld. Umbrella Academy, says Carl Childers. I agree with that too. That's great. And that one's you can go check out the comic on that too. Gerard Way, who's used to be the singer of My Chemical Romance. He's that's his story. Very interesting. My favorite character in Umbrella Academy is 5. He's my fave. Rewatch Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. Oh yeah, I mean that's like an annual thing. Man. Watchmen is coming out too. We talked about that a little bit. Edward Martin earlier today on Geek Chat 1. CC Stark says, can you talk about your grieving stages in this past week? It's been a crazy week, everyone, honestly. You all know how crazy. I think I released 64 videos in 60 days. That's a lot. I took one day off. I think I took one day off in 2 months, 2 days off in like 70 or 80 days. It's pretty crazy. So it was tough for me this week because I knew the hype is going to die down for sure because the show's over. Theory crafting and all of that, and that's kind of out the window. But you can still do analysis, right? But there's people who like search specific style of videos. It's been a really tough week for sure. I'm still like. I'm still grieving. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting time. But the thing is like there's still so much to talk about, though. I mean, the books are still going to come. The prequel. There's so many people that have been talking about the prequels in the chat. Carl Childers says, Kyle, listen for real. Your content over that 2 months was consistently good, and the quality of the creation and pacing was excellent. You did a damn good job. Thank you, man. That means a lot, really, honestly. I'm trying to get better with speaking, like talking a little slower and being a little bit less hype and trying to be more clear with everything that I say, because you all know I get excited when I talk about Game of Thrones. So trying to improve things and tweak things too. And learning how to edit videos a little bit differently and become better at that, right? Yeah, the prequels are going to be. I think the prequels are going to be awesome. I really do. But yeah, there was a lot of really good feedback from season 8, the season 8 videos. I think we took a step forward. I think we could still improve though, for sure. I want to get better at everything. I still feel like I'm kind of right at the beginning again. You know what I mean? That's a really interesting thing too about YouTube. This constantly changing. There's always new tools to learn and stuff like that. So everybody did enjoy the season 8 videos. I'm happy. That makes me happy that I've been trying to. If you go to the community tab on the YouTube page, I try to create polls and stuff like that so we can try to have participation. And I always want to know what like everyone would like to see on the channel. Of course, I'm still going to create content that I love because I'm a nerd and I want to create videos that I want to talk about with you guys selfishly. But yeah, a lot of people have been mentioning they would like me to talk about more about the Children of the Forest and the White Walkers and kind of that stuff, like more of the history and lore, some of the more mysterious things like Ashai and the Far East and stuff like that. The videos are going to continue. So hopefully you're excited about that. Yeah, a lot of people, when I did a poll, I said, what are people most excited for next? Like, what would people like to see on the channel? And the number one thing that was voted it was like 50%. So I put 4 options in the poll and it was 50%. It was Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings show. So I'm gonna do some videos on the Second Age, do some more research. I'm gonna learn more myself about that because I need to understand more of what's going to be covered in the prequel. But yeah, I'm going to cover some more of that kind of stuff. Amy Collins Russell, who's in the chat, by the way, she helped me on quite a few vids this season. She Sansa Stark's master plan. We worked on a lot of videos together. Amy's been a huge help for the channel. So let's show her some hype and love in chat. But yeah, Amy, going forward, she's part of Team Azora Hype. We're kind of building a little team, because it gets pretty difficult being a one-man crew, you know. So Amy is awesome, and she's in chat. And yeah, she's been helping out the channel. And I have issues a lot of the time, like I mix up words and stuff like that, right? I have some issues like with editing paragraphs and stuff like that. I've always had I've always had some issues with that. Growing up learning, like I had been diagnosed with ADHD, so I have like reading, like comprehension issues with certain things. So it's hard for me. So like Amy will like look over something. She'll be like, what did you mean there? You know what I mean? So it's nice to have another set of eyes on things too. You know what I mean? When you're looking at something, because like if you're just looking at it, you won't like realize a mistake that you've made. You know what I mean? But if someone else is like, what did you mean by that? You know what I mean? So that's cool to have someone help out and be like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So let's fix that. Yeah. But I'm definitely, I'm going to go back. So I think, let's talk about this a little bit. One thing that I definitely want to go do is I want to go back to episode number 1. I want to go rewatch episode number 1. And I want to do a video series on the channel called Game of Thrones Rewind. And what we'll do is, since the series is over, we have the information of the whole series, we can look back at the foreshadowings and the conversations and try to connect them to parts of the story, right? Kind of filling in the blanks and talking about why this scene was important and specific scenes and stuff like that. And I think what would be really cool too is like, I think what would be really cool is if we did that and then we had like votes. We don't necessarily have to go chronologically like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. We can have votes and like jump to season 4 and do like an episode from season 4 and then go back. So we can kind of like have votes and like have this cool thing going on where everybody can participate and yeah, and basically just be part of something really fun. What does everybody think about that? Good idea, bad idea? Let's hear it. Yeah, it's like, and you know what could be cool too is like if we know, like a specific like hey, next week on Thursday I'm going to be releasing this video. It can encourage everyone to rewatch the episode together too, kind of like a book club. You know what I mean? I thought that would be cool, and then we could all watch it together, right? So like our rewatch, and then we would like vote on the episodes. So after we do the first one, we could do a poll and people will have to go to the community tab and vote and stuff like that. So I thought that would be cool. Yeah, catch all the different nuances, like little things that we might have missed. Like for example, like I did a video last week and I talked about the important conversation of what Ned says to Bran and Jon when he's beheading Will from the Night's Watch. Right? And in that scene, he says, King of the Andals, Lord Protector of the Realm, and then it pans to Jon and Bran. So was that foreshadowing? I mean, I don't think Dan and Dave knew the ending that early, like the full ending, but it is interesting. We can kind of connect those things like, okay, like, hey, was that a hint that Jon Snow was Aegon Targaryen? Like that kind of stuff. I think that's cool. And like I said, like the one thing that's really important to me that I think we've done as a community here on the channel is making people feel included, like we can participate together on things. And yeah, I think, yeah, like breaking down the poster, Ned Stark, and there's the three-eyed raven on the Iron Throne. Like, were they trying to tell us from the beginning that, possibly the three-eyed raven was going to sit on the throne? stuff like that. So that's one idea, Game of Thrones Rewind. And then, so there's, I'm doing a couple panels at Con of Thrones, and they're called Journey's End, which is the hero's journey. And I'm sure some of you know what the hero's journey is, but doing character arc videos. So just like a whole specific video on Theon and his story arc. And those would be nice meaty ones, like 20, 25-minute episodes, because we would have to talk about their whole story, right? Book, show, kind of doing comparisons and stuff like that, and analyzing why that was a specific moment or turning point for a specific character. This was a reason they redeemed themselves, or this was a reason they failed. This was a reason they got the ending they did, stuff like that. So I think heroes' journeys is one thing that we'll do. So we'll do specific character videos. We'll do Game of Thrones Rewind. That's the one I'm most excited for, actually. Jaime Lannister. See, we already got people voting in chat. Do Jaime Lannister first. And that's what I love, too, because everybody has their favorites, right? And there's literally, like, there's so much to cover, right? So we can, and what we could do is we can kind of set up a schedule, I think. Like, would people like it on specific days? Would people be cool with that? Like, then you know what to expect. Like, hey, Friday is Game of Thrones Rewind Day, and Monday is Heroes Day. And then we have it the same day. Would everybody be cool with that? Then you kind of would know what day to expect it, I guess. Then we can be consistent, and they can be like, oh, I'm looking forward to Monday because I'm really want to see that Jaime Lannister video. Okay, cool. People are angry. I'm liking what we're doing here. We're all jiving together, loving the positivity, and also, you know, my door's open, people. I'd love to hear ideas. I'd love to hear what you would like to see too. So I'm gonna set up over this week. I'm gonna set up a channel schedule and try to structure everything and try to get some series videos for the channel. And you know what the cool thing will be too is, like, when time moves along, as we move along, we will have playlists. So we can have, you know, if you're the kind of person like for example, I'm really behind on Robert N. Deep Geek's Traveler's Guide. But I love those videos. So I have a bunch saved, and I'm going to binge them one day on a day off or something and just watch a bunch of them. You know what I mean? So, hey, Mandolin, nice to see you. Wesley Mons in the chat. Nice to see you. Man, Emilia Clarke did such a good job, though. Like, really. She was, she did an incredible job. That's what Hero's Journey is, Cherry Blossoms, is character breakdowns and analysis. Choose your own adventures for loose ends that weren't tied up. So, like, the unexplained mysteries of Westeros, something like that. The unanswered files. I don't know what we would call it. Amy, what else were we talking about for video ideas? Like, I'm so tired I can't remember all of them. So Game of Thrones Rewind is 100% happening. We've already voted on that on Patreon. That's happening. We're now gonna, since all of you like the Hero's Journey one, we'll do that too. Well, let's think of a third one. What's the third one that we can do? You know what I could do, which would be really cool, is maybe I can do like I have like a weekly mailbag, like a Q&A type of session that isn't live, but I take awesome comments and questions from the Hero's Journey video, but also Game of Thrones Rewind, and we kind of touch more on that maybe. And like, because it's impossible to get to every single comment on the channel. I would love to be able to reply to every single one, but it's just, things get so crazy, right? So I think that would be really cool too. Kind of maybe doing like a bi-weekly session where we do a Q&A, going over the awesome, and you know, we can get a mod team together. We can get a team of people together pulling awesome comments and questions and stuff like that, and then address some more of them in live streams, stuff like that. Thanks for joining, Ellie Hudson. I like that idea too. Amy Collins, like etymology of the names, like Jamie. We can mix that in with the Hero's Journey stuff, I think. that could be like a specific part of our segment, I think. Yeah, we'll definitely collab. Gray's going to be on one of our panels at Con of Thrones. We're going to be collaborating together. American Horror Story. I don't think that's something that I'm interested in covering on the channel, Tad, but thank you for the recommendation. But a lot of people, or the battle breakdowns too. That would be something that I think I would want to do with JR because he's so good at that. But yeah, so we could do like battle breakdowns. We could literally do anything, right? There's like literally limitless amounts of content we can do. And I've already started working on a couple Marvel videos, so those will be out this week. So yeah, I know some of you are into Marvel as well. I'll be doing an introduction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Multiverse, and also kind of what's happening next after Avengers Endgame. A video learning Dothraki? No, you don't want me to do that. Original David Adams. Make 3 outcomes for each character after the events of the show, and then chat votes which they like best. Literally, you can write your own stories for them and collab with people. That's kind of like choose your own adventure, right? Kyle do movie review Monday. Okay. Kyle cover the music from the season. Ooh, we could cover the music too. CC Stark says Fire and Blood chapters. Maud Mary says, I like when Aziz did parallel character analysis. Yeah, me and Amy are talking about doing some of that. Jon and Daenerys is one we're already working on. So that is one we're going to be doing a Jon and Dany comparative analysis video. Kyle in space now. I'd be freaked out by just the vastness of space. I would be dead. Literally, it terrifies me to think of how big outer space is. So I'm not even going to get into that. Thanks though, Quinn. Yeah, I mean, any prequel news. So anything that's up to date prequel news, any like new castings or location stuff, definitely will be like that day type of video. So I'll try to give you guys and gals the most up to date news on the prequels for sure. Yeah, Fire and Blood too. We're still getting a second part of Fire and Blood, so that'll be something that we can look forward to. The Blackfire Rebellions and all of that. Javadi, he's awesome. Yeah, there will be a book club on Geek Chat 1, by the way. So if you haven't checked out Geek Chat 1, you haven't joined, I highly recommend that. A World of Ice and Fire. For those of you who haven't got into that yet, that will be covered in the book club on Geek Chat 1. So A Song of Ice and Fire. World of Ice and Fire will be on there. Well, Talia Green would love to hear more backstory on Rhaegar. I've heard a lot of people that the book club, yeah, there's going to be multiple book clubs for that. That'll be cool. Hey, Paige, thanks for joining us tonight. I really appreciate that. This is just a quick stream anyways. We're just hanging out. Dunkin' Egg. Ooh, yeah. I love Dunkin' Egg. Analysis. Mel says analysis on each house, respective main characters, specifically because a lot of them are gone now. Yeah, some houses are extinct. So that's something. We did do a video on Rhaegar and Jon, so that's a thing. Hey, King McKay, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. And actually, another content creator, if you want to go check out more awesome content, is King McKay. He does amazing A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones content. And by the way, King, I am 100% committing to covering Vikings the final season. I will be, because I started doing it, but then Game of Thrones came around. But now that Game of Thrones is done, I am 100% all in on Vikings final season. So I will be covering Vikings the final season on the channel. And King McKay is, in my opinion, the best Vikings YouTuber. I think he does the best videos. Personally, this is my opinion. Yep. I'm going all in on the Vikings next season, King McKay. It's going to be awesome. Shout out to Uncle Kev. He's at home watching. Richie. Hey, Uncle Kev. Thanks for watching. We got the Viking horn back there. King McKay, are you coming to Con of Thrones, by the way? Are you coming over again, or is that going to be difficult for you this time? Let me know. Amy Collins Russell. His mom says she's ready for Ivar to die. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any Game of Thrones prequel sequels ever, maybe, or for a long time, people. It's going to be more prequel spin-off stuff. No, King? It's unfortunate, man. I was really looking forward to seeing you again, but I understand. King McKay, by the way, everyone, lives in New Zealand. He flew all the way from New Zealand to Dallas last year for Con of Thrones, and he got to party with us. So that was so cool. We got to be on the YouTube panel together, which was awesome. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, that makes me sad, man. King, you won't be there. Message me on Twitter, though. Let's try to see if we can make it happen. No, Vikings is definitely not as good as it used to be because Travis Fimmel as Ragnar was just amazing. But still, it's still a great show. Yeah, you never know though. They say no sequels now, but you never know, right? You never know. My mom, Amy says, we won't get a sequel for 10 years because of what Tyrion said to Jon. Ooh. Alexandra Santiago. Definitely would like to replay the rewind on Game of Thrones. I feel like we missed a few things. Yeah, there's always, and too, going back to reread everything, it's like, damn, like every single time you go do a reread or you reread a chapter or you go back and watch an episode, it's like, I missed a bunch. I do feel like I am getting a bit of a cold, so I hope that hopefully that's not a thing, knock on wood. Edward Martin, Kyle, are you going to be doing skits at Con of Thrones? Well, I will be filming the panelists that I'll be on. I'm going to try to help out as much as I can for my awesome peeps, JR and Gemma too, and Helen and Robert, and try to get some other panels too of some of the awesome people, try to film some other panels. So hopefully that'll be a thing. I'm going to try my best to get as much content as I can for the people that can't go to Con of Thrones. So yeah, there's definitely, we're going to be doing daily live streams. We've all agreed to that. There's going to be a few, like me and DP, Gemma, JR, a bunch of us are staying together. So we'll have live streams on different channels, and there'll definitely be a Con of Thrones collaboration schedule that we'll set up, and everybody will know. Con of Thrones is a convention where there's panelists and panels talking about like specific topics, like Theon Greyjoy or the Long Night, or for example, Nikolai, who played Jaime Lannister, might be on one. So that kind of stuff. Oh, why is Con of Thrones in Nashville? It's a great city. Amy Collins Russell wants to get Vladimir Furtick, who plays the Night King, and Andy, the extra who we saw in the last Watch documentary to Con of Thrones. Amy, tweet it out to Con of Thrones people on Twitter. Let them know that we want to see Andy and Vladimir. I think those would be great additions, honestly. Because they got John Bradley, right, who plays Samwell Tarly. They got Joe Dempsey, who played Gendry Baratheon. They got Hannah Murray, who plays Gilly. And then they have Nikolai Coster-Waldau, who plays Jaime Lannister. There's definitely going to be more people they get to go for sure. They usually have like 10 to 12 actors and actresses. And then they have like show people like Paula Fairfield came last year. She's the sound designer for Thrones. We got to interview her. We got to interview Sirio Farrell for a second time last year. And they have Tom, I believe, was Tommy Doon there last year? He was the weapons master. So they also have people who like the Snow guy, like we saw in the documentary. People like that. So people who have worked on the show too. Talk to Gina Miller. Yeah, she knows what's up. She runs the Africana of Thrones group on Facebook. She knows what's up. Yeah, King McKay, myself and King McKay got to meet Sam Coleman, young Hodor. We got to hang out with him. I got to interview Sabelka Kelly last year, who played Shay. She is just awesome. She's totally cool. Esme Bianca, we got to interview last year, who played Roz. But yeah, there was a lot of really cool things that happened last year. And I'm not going into it with too many expectations. I'm just hoping that it's just as fun as last year and hoping that we have awesome rockin' panels and that we can have fun and deliver awesome entertainment for all of you. And really, like, they're also super nice. So, yeah, we had so much fun. Jamie, this is my 14th live stream today. No, this is actually my 4th live stream today. I appeared on Geek Chat 1 for Geekend News. Then we did Gemma's birthday, and then I was on In Deep Geeks channel. But you guys voted. You guys said you wanted to see an after show tonight. So I said I'm going to make it happen. Cherry Blossom, I've seen you post that. What is my opinion of the petition in the chat like 10 times? I just don't care about it. It's just, I think it's disrespectful to what we, like, look at how, like, what we saw tonight. I'm just not taking part of that. Okay. Just putting that out there. There's so many people who worked hard on it. I just think it's just, whether you liked it or not, that's how I see it. Yeah, if you watch the documentary tonight, just saying. Anyways, next subject. Hype and love mod Mary. Hell yeah. David Peterson, we got to chill with him. He talked about Scroth and all sorts of cool stuff the first Con of Thrones, so that was really neat. David Peterson is cool. So everybody did enjoy the documentary tonight. That's cool. I'm glad we all got to. Yeah, like seriously, we like Game of Thrones is just so amazing. Like just like the level of detail. Like if we go back in slow-mo an episode, we're like, oh my god, I missed that and this and like just like every single small little detail, right? They worked super hard on it too, yeah. I think our expectations were sky high too. I mean, we waited 600 days, right? And we only got 6 episodes. So, and even while they were longer, we were so used to, we got 6 seasons of 10 episodes, right? And then we had 7 in season 7. So I think our expectations were sky high for sure. And like, look, like some of the best seasons of television ever, right? So, like things have to end. And the idea of something ending and then knowing that it's ending and having to end it and then not having more. It's like, as the way we consume media, the way we consume everything now in the world as humans, you know what I mean? We always want more. And this isn't any different for Game of Thrones. Like, I want more episodes, right? Like, who doesn't? Chat, who in the chat wants more episodes? I'm just going to take a quick guess and probably say 99% of you do. Right? The maggots in the head of the white. Yeah, like that stuff. Like that's insane, right? More, never stop. See? Like, look, it wasn't perfect, but HBO certainly wanted more episodes. Yeah, what we got was precious, and like look at how many like just chilling with all of you, just doing this right now. The fact that even 183 people are watching right now is just so rad to me. That like this like blows my mind. Seriously, it does. King McKay says he wants Game of Thrones anime or Game of Thrones inspired show in animation. I would be down for that too. White bot. I see you. I love that name, by the way, White bot. I see you, White bot. So John H, he says, yeah, Jon Snow's a crybaby crying all the way to the bank. So what? Is Kit not allowed to make money and be successful? So we should criticize him because he's crushing it, and he's not allowed to be emotional because he experienced this thing that took up 10 years of his life. That's an incredibly like shit take, in my opinion, from you. I don't know, calling him a crybaby. This is important to him too, and all the people that just because they're actors and actresses and they make money to have that kind of take is shit. Just letting you know. Just saying. I mean, how many people got emotional over seeing that? Oh, somebody else did? Okay. Yeah. Definitely. So what? I mean, we're so critical of everything, man. I honestly like, I'm happy for Kit. He deserves it. He did such a good job. I'm happy that he's happy. He's got a beautiful wife, tons of money. I hope he crushes it for the rest of his life. The other actor is calling him a crier. Yeah. Gotta love Kit though, man. Jon Snow. We're fighting these wars forever. Oh yeah, man. There's like so many great performances. Like we were talking about Peter Dinklage earlier. Man, Peter, man. Like at the table reread, even him reading his Tyrion and him being an American doing the accent. Peter is top notch, man. Oh, Pete, like, yeah, King McKay. There's no actor or actress on that show that can that can't be proud of what they accomplished. Seriously, just and the locations too. Like, look at some of the stuff they had to endure. Like in ice, like these. We're so blessed to have like. I can't even pronounce that one name. The big one in Iceland when they were in the north where they were shooting the Jon and Dany scene where they're kissing, and where Drogon is watching Jon. Like some of these locations, like literally, how many locations? Croatia, Iceland, Northern Ireland, Spain, right? That too. I think about that too. Like I often find myself Googling these locations and being like, what would it feel like to be in these just absolutely some of the most beautiful places in the world, right? Like, oh man. Like, I'm like, I wish, Hell yeah. Talia Green says, enjoy your content, King McKay. If you go to my home channel page, King McKay is one of the featured content creators there. So you can, if you Talia, but you're already subscribed. For anybody that hasn't subscribed to King McKay, you can go. So when you have my homepage, you'll see on the side it says awesome content creators. Secrets of the Citadel is there, but also King McKay if you want to go check him out. Crying only means someone actually cares. Yeah, we saw DB Weiss saying like, hey, like we're proud of you, Kit, for doing what you did. But more importantly for being who you are. And you could see like, I'm like, I don't know, Kit, but you could see like his interaction with the people and how like they were pumped to see Kit on set. So that was cool. David, if you want to grab it again, you could just toss it in or Courtney, any of the mods that are here. You can definitely drop that. So especially if you like Vikings too, King McKay does Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones content, but like his Viking content is fire, really good. Omar S. Let's just start reading some comments, and we're gonna start to wrap it up and hang out. I just want to read what everybody is like thinking and feeling. Omar says, no other show created this much lore and fandom since Lost, which is the pioneer of subverting expectations to cliffhanger endings, except for maybe 24 when they ran out of gas. Yeah. So that's really interesting. Thank you for that comment, Omar. The actors probably wanted to move on with their lives, most of them anyways. Melop says, I nominate Amelia, Alfie, Nikolai, and Maisie for awards. Those are great choices. John H. Do I recommend Vikings? Yeah. I would say the first 3 seasons are excellent. But then it starts to they start diverging towards some of the more, they start creating history and creating plot lines, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Kind of keeps you guessing because things aren't exactly the same as the historical preferences. Kimber Bridge, thank you for joining. Yeah, King McKay is the person to talk about for Vikings for sure. He knows the most about that. People are shouting out Alfie in the chat. Alfie Allen, one of the, as far as just using facial expressions and just acting without saying words, he was definitely one of the best in the show. Yeah, Vikings doesn't have like the production value of Thrones, but it's interesting for sure. There's really compelling characters and they're not necessarily good people, but giving you the perspective of that Viking culture is really interesting. Sophie Turner did a great job this season. I see a lot of people saying, Lena, obviously, but Amelia, people have just been shouting out Amelia a lot. And really, like, for how fast that final transformation for Daenerys had to happen, yeah. It must have been really tough for her, too, right? Like, you saw her reaction. We all saw Amelia's reaction after she found out. So I'm going to stay on for about 5 more minutes, people. Something really cool is happening tomorrow. I live in Northern Ontario, and CTV Northern Ontario, they're doing a story about the YouTube channel and me. So I got to get up in about 6.5, 7 hours, and they're going to come into the office, film me doing some work, and interview me. So we're going to do about 5 more minutes, but yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, CTV Northern Ontario is covering the channel and the success we had in Game of Thrones season 8. So that's pretty cool. I wasn't sure how I felt about, like, at first I was like, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I just feel like it's a cool opportunity that might not happen again. So yeah, I felt like, and it can't hurt to get a little more exposure, right? So I thought that was, I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it briefly for those of you who follow me on Facebook and stuff. But I'm not sure, Rose. I'm not sure when that's all happening. But the guy who's interviewing me is really cool. He knows my cousin's wife, and they got in contact with me, and she's like, so when Game of Thrones ended, they initially were interviewing some of the business owners in town and stuff, because like Game of Thrones is just like sweeping the world. Like, it's just really become part of so many, like, just pop culture in general. But like, really, some people only got into it like a couple months ago or like a year ago. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely share. Like, I don't know like when it will be airing and stuff, because they would probably have to edit it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna happen tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. So I got to get up fairly early. But I think that's a cool way to wrap it up. I think, let's kind of do final thoughts in the documentary. I really enjoyed it. It was really cool to see how hard every single person worked on Game of Thrones. I think that when we, like, a few weeks from now, even a couple months from now, we're going to realize what Game of Thrones really meant. Like, we're really going to start to feel it and be like, ah, man, it's just like Game of Thrones is gone, right? So, and once once we realize that for real, that it's gone, because we're only a week out from Game of Thrones ending. But once we realize that and how much it impacted everyone, the people who are working on the set, like you saw how much it meant to them, to us, the watchers, the people who create content, the people who chat with it about their friends at work. It literally affected so many different, people who create blankets, people who create art, right? It's like literally affected like pretty much every facet. Like, people that have jobs because of this now. Like I do full-time content creation, right? So it's just so crazy to see how Game of Thrones and, George R. R. Martin, the books inspiring other authors to create their own stories and take part in their own journeys and discuss their characters or ideas that they've had. So I think that Game of Thrones, like, there's something so unique and special about Game of Thrones that has really impacted all of us, brought us together. We still can't get enough of it, even though it ended. And I think, like we had a super long time in between this. Like we stuck together during the long night. Like we had like almost 600 days that we waited. That was so cool to be able to like the fact that everyone is still so hype after all of that. That's so cool. The fact the amount of love and passion that people still had during the wait, like it never really wavered. So that to me is the coolest thing. Of course, I'm going to continue to create videos on the channel. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to knock on some wood here. There's going to be more Game of Thrones videos. Like I said, Game of Thrones Rewind and the Hero's Journey videos. Those are starting up this week. Also, Marvel videos are dropping this week. And behind the scenes, there's a few other things that are going on. Working on an Expanse podcast and some other things. So, yeah, I would love to hear, of course, your thoughts in the comment section, what you would like to see on the channel. I'm always willing to listen to ideas. I always want to improve as a content creator. And yeah, like just let's keep going. There's new things to discuss. We got Game of Thrones book content, all sorts of stuff. So really just want to thank everyone for hanging out. Like I said, I thought it would be cool. I thought it would be cool to do a final after show, just all of us together, just relaxing, chilling out, and having a fun chat, talking about people like Andy and the Snow Guy and all the hard people that worked on Thrones. Because I think that while we may not have liked what happened, we still have to appreciate the scope and the amazingness and all of the hard work that went into Thrones. So thanks everyone for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next video. I've been